Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Spring Tour season number 5 of the Ray Esports Racing League presented by Spec Racer Sports, Alliance Autosport, and new this year, Grassroots Sports Magazine here on Apex Racing TV. Over the course of our 9-week season and then the winner-take-all runoffs, we hope to bring you some of the best racing around in 3 different classes, well-known to club racers here in the United States, Spec Miata, Spec Racer Ford, and the RE2 Formula cars. Tonight, we kick off our new season with 2 20-minute sprint races. First on track are going to be those Spec Miatas, followed by our Spec Racer Ford drivers and our Formula car drivers. They're going to get a brief respite tonight, but will be joining us next week for round number 2. And there are drivers tonight. They're racing at the home of that red Georgia clay and a circuit that's been scaring the bejesus out of drivers for just over 50 years, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and normally joining us, but not here tonight, will be Brian Donati. Hopefully we'll catch him a little bit later in the season. He's dealing with the night that the lights went out in Georgia. He had a little power outage tonight, but joining me, of course, always in the production truck, but joining me, sticking his head into the announce booth a bit tonight, we've got Dennis Branch, who he's going to be doing double duty tonight, bringing you all the action here. And Dennis, welcome to season number 5.
Good evening. It's a great place to kick off a season. Road Atlanta, and especially MX-5s, they race so well here. It's always fun racing.
Yeah, I think we picked, of the 3 classes, I think we really picked the 2 that are going to be able to really highlight all the advantages and disadvantages of pack racing and drafting.
Absolutely.
Here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. So it should be a good time. Now, we've got our drivers. They're out on track right now for their 15-minute qualifying session. And we'll talk about some of these drivers here in just a few moments. But want to get some stuff out of the way here first as we're opening up the new season here. First, want to quickly highlight our regular season champion from season number 4. And our top finishers in the Mazda MX-5 or Spec Miata class, Caleb Patry, and you're going to hear his name quite a bit, I think, tonight. Caleb Patry was our Season 4 champion in the Mazda MX-5s in Spec Miata, with Morgan Burkhardt taking home the second step on that season podium. Brennan Horan third in the championship. Lewis Lockshine, Jamison Huffman rounding out the top 5. And we have many of those drivers back here with us tonight. As a matter of fact, I think we've got Burkhardt and Huffman somewhat towards the top of the leaderboard right now here in qualifying. I do not see Mr. Patry, but who knows?
I saw him in here earlier. There he is.
Oh, hey, as a matter of fact, there is
Caleb
Patry.
He goes in 10th, now back to 11th.
Yeah, there you go.
So
in the red, white, and blue.
He's saving it for the end.
That's exactly it. Maybe we'll see him make a.
He had such a stellar season. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll hear from him a lot because, the All Sports Racing driver there, he actually took all 3 championships last season. So I guess the cat's out of the bag, and we'll dispense with any of the drama there. Although we'll pop his name up just a little bit, and tell you what, while we've got qualifying going on, and as you can see, we're just about 2/3 of the way through qualifying. Cam Eben, who his very first outing with the Ray Esports League in Season 4 last season, took a win, and I think a very, very commanding win. I believe it was at Lime Rock Park. So good to see him out here, and you can see he's got about a 3/10, actually a third of a second advantage right now over Jamison Huffman with Morgan Burkhardt, your top 3. And actually we're seeing a lot of those All Sports Racer drivers up towards the front of the field. There's a great look right now. The number 11 car, Stevie Ray, got the night off from work. I think he typically works for, I believe, Southwest Airlines out of Dallas, Texas, and he is the Ray in Ray Esports Racing, and great to see that car out here to kick off the season. But real quick, Dennis, before we get underway with race number 1, why don't we give everybody a little preview of what Season 5 is going to look like. Of course, we race every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and there we go for race weekend number 1, of course, or race week number 1. Of course, we're here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. We're going to be at some great venues like the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, which is where we go next week. Sonoma Raceway, which has held our championship runoffs a number of the past seasons. Going to be a regular season event this year. We're going to be at great places like Lime Rock, Virginia International Raceway, of course, Circuit of the Americas, home of the United States Formula One Grand Prix. And we're going to be wrapping things up at the end of the season at Watkins Glen, the track that I think every driver loves to race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just so much speed, and it's just one of those places that has such great flow.
And you and I were talking earlier off air that the rescan, that the new version that iRacing just released, it's awesome. It's excellent.
It really is, and I mean, even me, who was so horrible racing on the iRacing platform, absolutely loves it. I've taken a Civic Type R around there in anger on the platform, and the MX-5s for that matter. I'm getting better, but visually it's just absolutely gorgeous. And plus, I don't have to have real bad memories of Sprint with those Sprint banners up everywhere in the version of the platform. Now I just get reminded of a driver who once, after I wrecked him one time in a real race, told me that I should choose another sport like bowling. Well, now I think of that every time I see the Go Bowling signs.
That's right. Yeah, you showed him.
Yeah, exactly. I showed Patrick. All right, so there we go. We've got just about 3 minutes left to go in qualifying, and it is still Eben with that 1/3 of a second advantage over Huffman, Schooler, Burkhardt, and now look at that, Caleb Patry, our Season 4 champion.
Right
he
up
now
there.
moves up to 5th fastest. Josh Soto, and Dennis and I saw Josh race last night at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in a different league. Josh currently 6th fastest. and just the folks that we have racing here this week, Jordy Fike, Mitchell Peak, Lewis Lockshine, and actually we'll talk about Lewis here in just a second. So many strong racers.
Really solid, really solid.
Yeah, and you're going to see them. And you're going to see them not only in the MX-5s here, but across multiple classes. The fact that some of these racers can, go and run a 20-minute race in one platform, jump out, do qualifying literally seconds later, and race a completely different type of car is just astounding. Absolutely
I can't do it. I'm a guy that needs practice. Absolutely.
All right. So as we start to wrap things up here in our first qualifying session, I mentioned Lewis Lockshine. Lewis, driver of the number 124 car, currently sitting ninth in the order. There's Lewis, making his way through turn 7 now onto the back straight on an out lap here, probably one of his last flying laps of the session. So last year we started giving the Excellent Driver Award. One award to each driver in each one of our 3 different classes, sponsored by the Esports Racer Group, essentially for the driver who raced the cleanest all season long. For those of you that are maybe have not raced on the iRacing platform, iRacing uses a program of what are called incident points that you can accumulate from either going off track or maybe impacting another car or spinning, losing control of the car, etc. And so starting last season for the drivers in each one of our 3 classes, in the Spec Miatas, in the Spec Racer Fords, and also in the RE2 Formula cars, that accumulated the least number of incident points over the course of the entire season would be awarded this Excellent Driver Award. In the MX-5s, the Spec Miatas last season, Lewis Lockshine was that driver. Mark Santana took home the award in Spec Racer Ford. John Wilson in the RE2 Formula cars. And so, we'll see how that plays out. Last year, each one of those drivers received a little trophy, a little bowling trophy. They've got like Olympic medals this year that they're each going to get.
I saw those. They look cool.
Yeah, they definitely do. So, maybe. Who knows? Maybe Brennan Horn will be up for that award this year. Actually, Brennan Horn is with Team Esport Racer and is one of the people that's giving out that award. So I don't know if he's actually qualified.
He's ineligible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Well, if we saw him race last year, we'd say he was ineligible anyhow. All right. So,
he had some troubles.
Yes, he did. Sorry, Brennan.
Wyatt Good. Now there's a name I haven't seen in a long time.
No, yeah. So we've got a couple new drivers as the checkered flag is out on qualifying. A couple of new drivers that we have picked up for season number 5. As you just mentioned, that is one right there. Bruce Lukens. Actually, Sean Hayes was with us. Bob Sorrell, I believe, may be new to the series as well. Tom Patton, and I'm wondering if Tom Patton, and he's driving the number 50 car, did not put a time in or did not get a time in here at Road Atlanta. If that is Tiger Tom Patton, who has been racing a GT2 Sunbeam Tiger in SCCA road racing for the past number of years, there's nothing like watching about a 45, 50-year-old British roadster with American muscle under the hood, topless with a big giant wing, incredibly fast in a straight line, going and racing on a real racetrack against these different silhouette body GT cars. It's absolutely amazing, and he's running the number 50, which is, I believe, the same number that Tiger Tom runs. Hopefully it's him. Maybe we'll get him into the commentary booth and we'll be able to interview him. And if I'm completely wrong, and if it's not him, well then I don't know. We'll make it up. All right.
We'll pretend that it is.
Exactly. All right. So we're following right now. You can see the number 32 machine, Wyatt Good, and another one of our new drivers who did not set a time in qualifying, which means he had some incident points. that had his all of his flying laps invalidated, but he's trying to get in a little bit of extra little seat time here before the drivers grid up for our first race of the evening, and it looks like he has just been called back to the pit, so we should have our drivers gridding up here in just a moment. And again, this is going to be a 20-minute long sprint race, our first of 2 this evening, and so let's run down the starting order. On pole, driving the number 55 machine with a fast time of 1:34.564, Cam Eben. Starting on the outside of the front row, he was our Season 3 MX5 champion from the All Sports Racing team, Morgan Burkhardt. On your second row, Burkhardt's 2 teammates, Jamison Huffman and Giancarlo Schooler, will make up that row. They're starting 3rd and 4th. Another one of their teammates, Caleb Patry, our Season 4 champion in the Mazdas, will start 5th with Josh Soto starting right beside him. Row number 4, Jordy Fike and Mitchell Peak, the 2 Team Esport Racer teammates. Then we've got Lewis Lockshine and Kevin Langer. Rounding out the top 10, Murphy Nichols in the Smoketown Brewery machine. He will start 11th with Michael San Inocencio starting in 12th. Starting lucky number 13 in the RM Solo machine, Bruce Lukens with Greg Mack, another one of our Team Esport Racer drivers. He's starting 14th. Charles Bailey out of New York. He will start 15th in the number 63 machine with Sean Hayes starting in 16th. Andrew Wozencroft will be starting 17th with Charles Vaccaro right next to him in the 221 machine. They make up row number 9. Row number 10, Kyle Vallejos and Scott Lear. Then we've got Stevie Ray in the Ray Esports Racing machine. He's going to start 21st. Bob Sorrell will start 22nd. Josh Justice 23rd. John Casey in the 046 Racing machine will start 24th, and we're getting down towards the bottom half of the order, the bottom third of the order now. Peter Rolfe will start 25th, Joaquin Effinger 26th, and if Joaquin Effinger is starting in 26th, that means Wayne Buttermore has to be right by him. And Wayne Buttermore is starting 27th with Joe Camilleri, a club racer out of Canada, typically drives an H production Volkswagen Scirocco. He's starting 28th. Then we've got Mark Sherman, who I think is also new to the series, starting 29th with Wyatt Gooden right next to him. And then we'll see if John Vogel and Tiger Tom Patton make the field. I don't see them out on track as we've got the pace car leading the field around. All right, so Dennis, let's talk briefly as we've got the pace lap underway about our new sponsor this season. They are going to be sponsoring the MX5 races all season long, and that is Grassroots Motorsports. And built for the true sports enthusiast, GRM has one mission: to be your personal guide to the sports car world. Whether it's online at grassrootsmotorsports.com, in print, or in person, the racers and builders, the car nerds at Grassroots Motorsports, take you behind the scenes and show you how to make your car better. Along the way, they'll give you the taste of everything this hobby has to offer, from 1,000 horsepower track monsters to cool street cars built in driveways. They also maintain a collection of staff-built project cars, because hands-on technical articles aren't typed behind a desk, they're scribbled down in the garage. To not only read but become part of the story, head on over to our brand new sponsor for Season 5, Grassroots Motorsports, at grassrootsmotorsports.com.
It's really cool to see them come on board.
Yeah, I'm glad to see. And although he's not in the field tonight, hoping to have JG Pasterjack from Grassroots Motorsports racing with us, at least in the Mazda MX-5s this season. And, you know, he may have some time to join us up in the announce booth as well. There was actually a little write-up in Grassroots Motorsports, at least on the online version, just a few days ago, hyping up tonight's opening round of the series. So hopefully we've got some new viewers along here with us as the pace car comes underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. It's going to make that hard right over to the pit lane, and now our front row, Eben and Huffman. They've got the field. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, as we see Lewis Lockshine, the 124 machine, trying to make a early move down to the inside. He's stuck down in around 10th position, but heading up the hill, coming out of turn 1, it is Morgan Burkhardt who has gotten around Cam Eben. He's going to lead the field over that curbing at turn number 3 as they start to make their way down the hill. John Carlos Schooler running in 3rd. Jamison Huffman falls back to 4th. Caleb Patry 5th. Josh Soto in the 07 machine. He now is in 6th position with Mitchell Peak, Jordy Fike, the 2 Esports Racer teammates. They actually swap positions going into turn 1 to start this race. And as the drivers come through turn 5, we're watching Bruce Luckins and Greg Mack now. That is the battle for 13th and 14th. And things will probably start to line up here as the drivers come through that heavily cambered turn number 6 for the first time. Then they're going to get hard on the brakes, and here, critical turn number 7, bringing you onto this very long back straight here. And Dennis, this is where we talked about where draft racing becomes so important, because this back straight is so long here at Michelin Raceway.
Yeah, especially in these MX-5s, and if you lose track of the lead pack, you're in a world of hurt. You need to stay on it.
Yeah, you do here, and and even if you come out of turn 7 maybe a little bit off the back of the car in front of you, because of how long the straightaway is and because of how draftable the MX-5s are, there is an opportunity to certainly make up a little bit of ground. And you can see here already we've got a 4-7, and as soon as they come out of turn 12, we're looking at about a 20 car lineup here now, side by side going into turn 1. It's Mitchell Peak in the white 56 machine and Josh Soto. Soto manages to hold on to 6th position, keeps Peak right back behind him. Peak, I believe, one of 2 Canadians in the field. Again, he and Joe Camilleri, as the drivers start to make their way down. And here you go. Ooh, it gets tight here through the S's as we're watching Sean Hayes in that black and yellow number 94 machine, and made a good move right there on Andrew Wozencroft on the number 80, the red and yellow number 80 right behind him. But look at that, Mitchell Peak. He gets around Josh Soto in that Yokohama machine going into turn number 6. So move Peak now up in the 6th position.
Trouble for Wayne.
Yeah,
coming
up
out
like
of
Wayne
turn 5.
And a lot of damage
there.
That's
a tough spot. That is.
Yeah, in turn 5, it's so common to see drivers go off drivers left there. That essentially they'll go. They'll crank the wheel over. Maybe the car drifts out a little bit wide, drivers right. They crank the wheel, drop a wheel, drivers right, and just hooks the car right back.
Curb spits him right out. Yep.
Yeah, right into a cement wall here. But no such trouble for Burkhardt, Eben, Schooler, Huffman as they come through turn number 12. That huge 60-foot drop to complete lap number 2, and. Lockshine still trying to make a run on San Inocencio. Now Lockshine, we talked about that great start. He popped out early when the green flag flew, but he ended up actually losing 3 places, Dennis, as both San Inocencio, Murphy Nichols, and also Kevin Langer took up the positions that Lockshine had lost.
Here comes Wyatt Gooden, making up 12 spots so far. Wyatt's a sleeper. Wyatt is one of the old school iRacing aliens. He's an 8,000 iRating driver.
Oh my gosh.
And, here we go. He's got trouble right in front of him. Who's that?
And who was that went around? Was that
Charles Vaccaro? Yeah, and Vallejos, I think, had some issues. We'll get that up here in just a second.
Yeah, and that was right in front of Wyatt.
Yep, but it looks like he got through it okay. Let's take a quick look at that.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what happened there. So I guess that's also a question, Dennis, is was Wyatt just because he didn't set it? Oh yeah, look at the wild ride there the 35 machine of Vallejos took. Again, we were just talking about it. He went wide, drivers right, coming through turn 5, and got the car finally gathered back up. But I'm wondering if that was just Gooden's play to just not put in a time, start from the back of the field, and
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing because he's he really is one of the aliens, and you know, as you can see, he's already made up a ton of spots, 13 spots so far.
Yeah, 13
in
spots
lap
out
4.
of, what do we have, 31, 32 starters, I guess 30 starters.
So watch out for Wyatt for sure.
There you go. And so Wyatt, he's got Sean Hayes just ahead of him. But let's jump back up to the front of the field. We've got the multiple Team Esport Racer drivers there. You can see, is Burkhardt. It seems like all of those Ukraine liveried cars, special livery tonight for the All Sports Racer drivers. They all took that wild hop over the curbing drivers right coming through turn 5. But and you can see there as Burkhardt takes the apex curbing at turn 7, how it tosses those cars around. But you know, the suspension setup on those MX-5s so compliant, so soft that they just seem to, you know, just gobble the curbs up.
Soaks it right up. Yeah.
All right, and so here we go now. 3 in a row, mere millimeters between Burkhardt, Evan, and Schooler, and now Huffman joins the party. And you can see there with the draft, Caleb Patry in the 198 machine, the last of those all-sport racer drivers. He's now pulled into the battle as well, right behind. That fight isn't over yet, Dennis. Mitchell Peak and Josh Soto
going at it. Yep.
Yeah. That's seemingly every corner we look side by side, but what has happened is with that little battle, you can see, at least for the moment, Peak has lost touch with our top 5 drivers, and Soto now has dropped back off of Mitchell Peak. And so, I mean, I guess they're going to hope that Peak can kind of act as a bridge to get them back up to the lead pack.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Is like you said, the back straight is long enough that you can make up some gap if you've lost the pack, but if you get too far out, you're in no man's land.
Yeah, you just cannot get back there. As looks like
Bob
Sorrell in the 72 machine. He runs off wild. Looks like he had an impact with the wall. He is now joining Charles Vaccaro in the pits. Looks like both of those drivers, and looks like Sorrell, I think, now has rejoined, but you know, definitely an issue.
It's been really clean though. I'm impressed that so many cars are still going.
I don't want to jinx things, but I look back to season 1. As a matter of fact, I think the very first Ray Esports race that we had was here at Michelin Raceway, and we had a 3-way battle for the lead in Spec Miata in our very first race. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was Mitchell Peak, it was Greg Mack, and I don't remember it might have been Jordy Fike. I think it was the 3 Team Esport Racer drivers, and you know, they all kept off of one another, but you know, it all essentially came down to who was going to outbreak who going into turn 10A, that complex right at the end of the long back straight.
Yeah.
And great battle.
I remember that. Yep.
And you know, it may work out that way here as well, as we're not quite halfway through this 20-minute Mazda race here from Michelin Raceway. Again, you're watching the season opener, season number 5, the spring tour of the Ray Esports Racing League. Is a good little battle here going on a little bit further back in the pack. We've got Josh Justice driving the 399 machine, and Peter Rolfe in the probably that's John Casey in the 046 machine, the number 78 machine that is right in the middle of that battle right there.
Yeah, they've been going at it for a lap or so.
I love John's his livery there, a little play on the John Player special there, but John Casey cool. On the door. Yeah, I like that, the 046 Racing Machine. Stevie Ray now with Scott Lear in his sights, the 76 and the 11 as they come onto the back straight. And, you know, I'll tell you, if Stevie on this straight, you know, if he just kind of tucks in behind the 76 machine, they might be able to make their way up to Wozencroft there in the 80 machine. But this is kind of the point you were making a few moments ago, Dennis, where Wozencroft, he's kind of out in no man's land over there.
Yeah, and you get into the I call it the bubble, and you know, the guys in front of you are pulling away, the guys behind you are falling back, and yeah, sometimes those races can be boring. You want to be in these packs.
So
that's where the fun is.
That's yeah, apparently. Well, I'll tell you. I think Wyatt Gooden has found where the fun is. I was just going to say that it looked like his march to the front had kind of stalled when he came up on Lewis Lockshine in the 124 machine. I think it took him about 3 laps to get around the orange number 124 car. Finally, now gets it done. It takes a couple turns to do it, but Gooden now up to 12th. He's made up 18 positions since the start of the race, and and we're only now halfway through. He is, from the looks of it, I think he is somewhere. He's about 7-8 seconds back, I think, from our leaders. But he's running
mid 35s, running faster than the leaders by about 4/10.
About 4/10, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we'll see what we can do. But again, you can see now here where he's got a huge chasm before he gets up to Murphy Nichols there in the 5 car. Nichols hanging right on the back of Kevin Langer, who in that rainbow liveried machine there joined us, I think, the second half of season number 4, and has put in some very strong finishes in the MX-5s. But here we go, back to the pack, and you look at this, Dennis. I was worried about those couple laps where Soto and Peak had been battling, and they dropped so far back. Well, Soto has separated himself out from Jordy Fike, from Kevin Langer and Murphy Nichols, got back up to Mitchell Peak, and it is once again a 7-car battle.
Yep, they are right on the tail of this group. Exactly where you want to be. Maybe not on the tail, but better to be hooked on.
That's right. And so with 8 minutes left, I guess when knowing what happened the last time Soto and Peak went side by side through turn 10A, and how they lost the scent to the rest of the pack. It took like 3 more laps to catch back up. I'm wondering how long it's going to be before somebody now actually pops out a line in that lead pack and tries to outbreak going down into 10A.
Well, we're 12 and a half minutes into this 20-minute race, so these races go by quick. You can't afford to just sit there. I mean, if you're going to make a move,
exactly.
You've got to make
and that's what I'm wondering. And as we look now, we have had a change in the lead. As we're going to watch right now is Lockshine, and we had Lockshine and Lukens go into 10A together. But it is now John Carlos Schooler in that 111 Team All Sport Racer machine. He has gotten around Morgan Burkhardt, who had led from the go here at Michelin Raceway. Our pole sitter Cam Eben now sitting back in 3rd. Then Jamison Huffman, Caleb Patry right back behind. And then just a little bit back off of that top 5 is Josh Soto and Mitchell Peak. Now, as Soto in that 07 car, the Yokohama machine, he has gotten around Mitchell Peak. So drop Peak now down into 7th.
We had somebody around. I didn't see who that was.
Yeah, let's see. I saw that. So it looked as though Camilleri possibly and Stevie Ray, and I don't know if they had just dropped wheels. I'm showing that they had gone off track, but
Sean Hayes had an issue. Turn 5 bites again.
Yeah, I was going to say that may be the answer. Kind of the telltale sign there with the nose of the car. It looks like he encountered what we saw earlier on in the race, where basically just lose the car, lose the rear end, trying to overcorrect going into 5 and hit the wall. As we now have once again this battle for this is for 5th position with Patry and Josh Soto. Patry takes an inside a defensive line going into 10A. He's able to hold off the 07 car, and I think more importantly, does not lose track of our top 4 drivers, as now getting a great run out of turn 12, Dennis, and you saw him kind of break down to the inside a little bit early. Cam Eben comes down the inside. He's going to get around Morgan Burkhardt, and he may be able to hold off Giancarlo Schooler as they go up the hill. Cam Eben, now your leader, but Burkhardt tries to make a move to the inside of turn 3. Can't get it done. The 55 car, your pole sitter, your new leader.
Yeah, he got both of those guys right there, 2 for 1.
Yeah, and you could see it as he came underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. He just kind of poked his nose in just a little bit, and I think it threw Schooler off just a little bit. Maybe lost a little bit of momentum coming down and around turn 12, and allowed him to just carry speed right on by. And Burkhardt followed him right on through as they go through turn number 7, and more importantly, as Burkhardt drops a wheel, drops a lot of wheel, as does the 56 machine of Peak coming out of turn 7. We'll see if that affects his run and able to keep up with Eben as they come down the back straight. I would think probably just about here where they catch that, they start to make that drop down the hill over towards turn 10A, and there you go, Burkhardt right back on the nose of Eben. We've got Giancarlo Schooler, pokes to the inside just a little bit, sets up a defensive line to hold off Jamison Huffman, and then we've got Caleb Patry right behind as we have now 4 minutes remaining here from Michelin Raceway at 1.5 minutes. I think we're looking, as they cross the stripe, we're looking at probably 3 more laps.
Yep,
I think
you're right.
Dennis.
Yeah, that's about right. Cam, I think that's what Cam was thinking. It's like, it's time to go.
Yeah,
Got 3
it looked
laps.
like he had sat back there. Now, I think the challenge, of course, is going to be he's going to have to defend going down into turn 10A for 3 more laps, essentially. Yeah. And that
which is a tough. Difficult. It's a tough proposition.
Yeah, exactly. And as both he and Burkhardt now have kind of separated themselves out from the rest of that pack, perhaps it'll make things a little bit easier for Eben, that he only has to worry about 1 car. As we look now there, as Jordy Fike runs a little wide coming out of 5, and looks like that's just ahead of Fike. That is the Smoketown Brewery machine of Murphy Nichols, who's made up 3 positions since the start, worked his way up into 8th position, and then going side by side into turn number 7. It's the 17 of Langer. He gets by Jordy Fike. Fike, who started 7th, now finds himself back in 10th. That is where Kevin Langer started this race, so he's made up 1 position. Murphy Nichols started in 11th. He is now running in 8th. And here we go, our leaders coming down the hill. Burkhardt moving to the inside. Thinks a little better of it, but look at this late move to the inside. Caleb Patry, and it does not work for him. Might have gotten tapped by Josh Soto, but Caleb Patry, he goes off. Looks like he's got a little bit of damage there. He's going to drop now all the way back to 9th position. He might lose another one to Wyatt Gooden as they come down the hill. As Gooden, that 32 machine, definitely smells some blood, but it is now at the front of the field. Cam Eben, Morgan Burkhardt, Giancarlo Schooler, and Dennis, as they came down. And at some point, we probably need to take a look at that again.
Yeah, we're going to look at that right now, because I don't know what happened to Caleb. I saw him poke his nose out.
Schooler popped to the inside to maybe go down underneath Burkhardt, and then, there you go. Patry just laid on the brakes, gets into the back of Jamison Huffman.
Yeah, he missed his spot. Yep.
Yeah, and just pulled the car to the inside. I think trying to avoid any more carnage. If he continued to stay right on the back of Huffman, he probably would have taken out everybody ahead of him. So
yeah, when you get into those big packs of cars, it's tough to find your braking marker. It can,
Yeah.
You can
I mean, all you're doing
it.
is you're looking at the rear deck of the car in front of you. You're looking at the roll cage, and you just you kind of have to go on feeling and go on faith. Patry, unfortunately,
ran out of talent. That's what the big boys say.
There you go. All right, so now it is a 2-car battle for the lead now, with what should probably be only 1 more lap to go. Coming through Cam Eben, Morgan Burkhardt, and sitting right back behind it is Giancarlo Schooler as they come underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. When they come to the start-finish line, they will get the white flag with 1 to go. And there we go, white flag in the air. Eben, Burkhardt, Schooler. Then about 8 car lengths back from there, we've got Mitchell Peak and Josh Soto. And look at this, Jamison Huffman comes off track. He comes down the pit lane.
Something happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was something that maybe when Patry got into the back of him, maybe he's running low on fuel. Don't know what the story is there.
He's
but
just driving through. He's not stopping.
Yeah, so I don't know. Now I know that we do have. If you accumulate 12 incident points, you do pick up a drive-through penalty. I'm showing Huffman
That
at
could
11 incident
That could
points.
be it.
Yeah, so he may have gotten a drive-through penalty here on the very last lap was starting. Very unfortunate timing for him, but Cam Eben, he leads Morgan Burkhardt and Giancarlo Schooler through the slow turn 7 onto this long back straight. These are going to be the last chances for Morgan Burkhardt and Giancarlo Schooler to take the top step of the podium. You can see there Burkhardt makes a move, driver's right. Eben very late goes to cover, and now Burkhardt, as you would expect, he's going to pop down the inside. He's going to try to outbrake Cam Eben going into turn 10A. He is alongside, and now as they both turn to the apex, side by side, going through turn A, through 10B, now Eben has a little bit better run. Contact between Schooler and Burkhardt, the two teammates, and as they come down the hill around turn 5, Cam Eben is going to take the first win of season number 5. Giancarlo Schooler, he's going to take the silver medal. Morgan Burkhardt, he's going to come home in 3rd, and let's look at that battle for 4th. Josh Soto, he beats Mitchell Peak to the line. Murphy Nichols on the last lap, he makes his way all the way up in the 6th position. Kevin Langer will finish 7th. Caleb Patry, who was in that lead pack for so long, he's going to come home in 8th. Jordy Fike will finish in 9th. Lewis Lockshine will round out the top 10. And you can see there the racing and the battling still going on as we watch Andrew Rosencroft and Scott Lear fighting to cross the line. And I believe, actually, Dennis, Scott Lear, a writer at Grassroots Motorsports Magazine. So, don't want to
that's cool.
Say that, the sponsor didn't show up because JG wasn't here. Scott Lear has been a writer with Grassroots Motorsports for a number of years. All right, so there you go. Finishing order: Eben, Schooler, Burkhardt, Soto, Peak, Nichols, Langer, Patry, Jordy Fike, Lewis Lockshine, your top 10. Hopefully, we will see some drivers show up here in the green room momentarily. And to tell you what, we've got Cam Eben, our winner, and Morgan Burkhardt waiting for us right here. Let's go. First, we'll bring in Morgan Burkhardt and then our winner, Cam Eben. Morgan Burkhardt, driver of the number 40 All Sports Racing Machine, finishing just on the 3rd step of the podium here, got pipped to the line by his teammate Giancarlo Schooler. Morgan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your race?
That was a lot of fun. I got the jump off the start, and it was kind of conserved tire. Struggled with getting the front tires up to the proper temperature, and it was a little bit hectic through the middle stage of the race. But then thankfully JC and then KM, they shuffled up to the lead, and I was able to kind of back it off a bit and calm down. And then on the last lap, it just didn't play the cards quite right, and yeah, Cam and JC both did a wonderful job.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew when Eben jumped to the lead with about 3 laps left, obviously it was going to be somewhat difficult. I know that with 2 to go, as Caleb Patry, I think, was a little bit late on the brakes going down into turn 10A, kind of split some of you up, and Giancarlo in particular had to check up just a little bit as he had Patry coming right underneath him at a much higher rate of speed through 10A, and I thought for a little while that it would be just a two driver battle between you and Cam, but great job controlling the first 2/3 of the race. There was a great start for you to pip Eben going into turn number 1 and to really control the race there. And when you and Giancarlo came out of turn 10B for that very last time, and it looked like there was maybe a little bit of contact between you guys coming under the bridge. What were you thinking there?
I just wanted to shut the door firmly, and I didn't do it quick enough, so he got a nose in there.
All right. So to kick off season number 5, you come home with a 3rd place. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight for this evening's race?
I'd definitely like to thank my parents for supporting me, especially not just with the sim stuff, but we're kicking off the real racing season. It's gonna be my first season in a car, so
That's right. You've got a
super
driver's
excited
school
about
in a
that.
couple weeks.
I do have a driver's school in a couple weeks. I'm
Yeah,
anxious and excited about that one, but yeah.
I'll bet you are. All right, so I'm sure we're going to see you here in just a few moments in the Spec Racer Fords. Good luck to you, and we're going to talk to one of your teammates here in just a moment. Morgan Burkhardt, driver of the number 40 All Sports Racing Machine, finishing second tonight in Spec Miata. And next, we're going to bring in Giancarlo Schooler. Giancarlo Schooler finishing second tonight in Spec Miata. And Giancarlo, I don't know if we've had you in the commentary booth here, if we had you in last season. But congratulations on your second place finish. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your race?
Yeah, it was a good race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great fun racing with these guys. We had a few cars up front, our ASR cars. But yeah, it was good fun. That last lap, I was hoping to get something out of it and hopefully get a P1, but I'm happy with the P2 that I got. It was like some carnage happened on the second to last lap and the third to last lap, but happy to make it through it and finish P2.
Yeah, I was talking to Morgan, and I think perhaps a bit of a surprise to go see Caleb Patry come flying by underneath you going into turn 10A there over with 2 laps left, but a good recovery, and I think the long back straight here at Michelin Raceway certainly helped you out there, allowed you to get back up to Burkhardt and Cam Eben. And Morgan was saying perhaps when you made that move coming underneath the Fox Factory Bridge on the last lap, he wanted to shut the door, and you were just too quick to the punch for him.
Yeah, I noticed he came across. He was trying to cut me off, which all respect. It was a good move by his part. I just waited on the corner entrance to the chicane, and it ended up paying off. Got a good run out of the exit, and almost had Cam, but happy with P2.
All right, well, very good, Giancarlo. Congratulations on second. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Thank you to Team Watson Racing, and get your setups at premierracingsetups.com. Use code Schooler15 for 50% off.
All right, there you go. He's got the plug in. Giancarlo Schooler finishing second tonight here in the number 111 car in Spec Miata. We're going to see you over in the Spec Racer Fords as well?
Maybe. Depends.
All right, well, sounds good. Hopefully we will. Thanks so much for joining us, Giancarlo. And now we're going to bring in our winner this evening, Cam Eben. Cam, congratulations on your win this evening. First win of season number 5.
Thank you very much.
So why don't you tell us, you had to tell us a little bit about the race. Of course, you started on pole, and Morgan kind of snuck underneath you going down into turn 1 on the first lap there. Why don't you tell us basically what your strategy was from that point on?
Well, I knew it was a pretty short race, and I wanted to hang around second place for the most part because I wanted to get that slingshot down the back straight, but I was riding there for a little bit, and then they got stacked up about halfway through the race out of the last corner onto the front straight, and I guess I just kind of took the momentum to the lead, not necessarily what I wanted to do, but I guess I made it work in the end, just had to make some moves and try to position my car correctly there on the last lap, and I was able to hang on.
It's funny that you said that it wasn't your intention possibly to take over the lead spot there coming out of turn 12. As we were watching the race, it looked to us as though perhaps you kind of poked your nose in a little bit on Giancarlo coming down out of turn 12, basically coming underneath the Fox Factory Bridge. Might have thrown his rhythm off just a little bit, but you had gotten a great run out of that corner to take the lead. But did you? I guess, well, I think you answered the question. You probably didn't expect or didn't want to be that lead car coming into turn 10 on the very last lap.
Yeah, exactly. They just slid a little wide coming onto the front straight, so then my car just took the run up there. And like you said, I didn't really want to be in the lead, but I was able to make it work in the end, so, glad it worked out.
All right, well, I know we're running a little bit short on time before we've got the Spec Racer Ford race. So, Cam, anybody you'd like to thank tonight for your win?
Obviously, Stevie Ray and everyone at Ray Esports for putting on this great league. Excited to have this league back for another season. And Greg, you and Dennis and everyone at Apex Racing TV for the broadcast. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you as well. Cam, congratulations on your first win tonight, and hopefully we'll see many more this season. All right, so there you go. That was Cam Eben, driver of the number 55 Mazda MX-5, our winner in race number 1. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get set up for our second race, the Spec Racer Fords. And when we come back, those drivers should be right in the midst of qualifying. You are watching season number 5 of the Ray Esports Racing League, the Spring Tour, live from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, and we'll be right back.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Back in 5, 4, 3, 2, hot.
All right, and we are back here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta for season number 5, the inaugural weekend, week of season number 5 here on the Ray Esports Racing League. I'm Greg Ginsburg. We've got Dennis Branch along with us here, and hoping that at some point our great friend Brian Donati can see the light. And I'm sure he'll be joining us next Tuesday night when we head to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So we've got drivers on track right now for qualifying in the Spec Racer Fords, and we have just about 5 minutes remaining in that 15-minute session, and we'll let you know how they're doing here in qualifying in just a brief moment. But in the meantime, wanted to highlight the Ray Esports Racing League, it's branching out just a little bit. We've been running these sprint races now for 5 different seasons, but starting in just a few weeks, March 12th, we are going to be holding our first endurance race, and it is going to be a 4-hour endurance race at Sebring International Raceway. We're going to have the Ford Mustangs racing. You don't see them all that often on the iRacing platform any longer. The TCR cars, so it would be the Hyundai Elantra, the Audi RS3, as well as the Honda Civic Type R. And then we're going to have the Mazda MX-5s. They're going to all be on track at the same time. And drivers will either be racing solo for 4 hours, good luck to them, or as teams. And we are still looking for teams and drivers. And so if you would like to join us for this inaugural event, if you head over to rayesportsracing.com, you can get more information and you'll be able to sign up for that event. And again, it's going to be March 12th from noon until, well, it's a 4-hour enduro, so I don't know why it's noon to 4:30, but it's going to be noon to 4 o'clock. So definitely join us, and we have many more endurance races lined up throughout calendar year 2022, so definitely join us. All right, so let's take a look here, Dennis. I was just going to say, why don't we throw up the timing tower, take a look and see where we are here in qualifying, and our provisional pole sitter with 3 minutes remaining in qualifying, Grant Vogel, driver of the number 47 machine. Stephen Beardsley, who I believe this is his first outing with us here
in
the Ray Esports Racing League. The yellow number 9 machine, as he's making his way down through the S's here at Road Atlanta. He is currently your second fastest driver, and he's only 11 hundredths of a second off of Grant Vogel's times. Grant Vogel, by the way, a Spec Racer Ford driver in real life. Caleb Patry, who was, surprise, surprise, our Season 4 champion. He is driving the number 198 machine. There he is, coming down in the turn 10A. He is currently your third fastest driver in qualifying, 27 hundredths of a second off of Vogel's times. And then don't be surprised, we're not showing the same driver twice. 4th and 5th right now in qualifying, Jamison Huffman, driver of the number 89 All Sports Racer machine. We saw him, of course, in our Spec Miata race, all 15 years of him, and then maybe a little bit more than 15 years old. His father, Justin Huffman, driving the 223 machine, that black, yellow, and orange beast. He is currently 5th fastest now in qualifying, as his son goes to the top of the leaderboard. It sets a provisional time of a 1:32.721. But Justin, longtime Formula Car driver, I would suspect that we will see him next week at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in that RE2 Formula Car as well. Morgan Burkhardt, who we spoke to just a few moments ago, coming off his podium finish, 6th fastest. Then we've got we've got John Vogel there, starting currently 7th fastest. Bruce Lukens. Lukens now, another new name here in the Ray Esports Racing League. He is sitting in 8th. Stevie Ray and Andrew Benna. And is Andrew running one of those Spec Racer Greg liveries? I hope not. Let's take a look at the. Can we find the number 71 machine? Thank God.
He went back to the pits, so. But we'll
right,
definitely, if it's there, we will definitely
we'll find him. Yeah, that for the first couple of seasons, Andrew Benna was running a car, the Spec Racer Ford, with my face plastered over each corner of it.
Cheesehead Greg, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
Oh, hey, look, there we go. It's Duck Dynasty himself running the Grassroots Motorsports livery. JG Pasterjack running with us tonight in the Spec Racer Fords. We had Scott Lear in the Mazda MX-5s. We have JG running in the Spec Racer Fords. So great to see our new sponsor, Grassroots Motorsports, really getting involved with the Ray Esports Racing League tonight. We're going to see how Duck Dynasty himself does tonight here in the Spec Racer Ford. He is currently qualified 25th. With time, not only time running down, but checkered flag out on the session now. So all flying laps will count. We're following Stephen Beardsley right now, who, after having for a while been second fastest in that number 9 machine, currently 4th fastest driver, so he's trying to get himself up onto the front row. Grant Vogel, I believe the 47 car, he's still out on track as well. Caleb Patry and Justin Huffman have retired back to the pits. There is the 47 machine of Grant Vogel on the back straight. No help with the draft, but look at that Beardsley tucked in behind. I think that's the number 94 car of Brian Schmaltz, another new driver with us here, and might just have the whiff of a draft. That might help give him a little bit of extra speed coming down the back straight.
Absolutely, yep.
As long as he doesn't get balked coming through 10A and 10B there, it might just get him onto the front row. We'll see if he can get that done as he drops down through turn 12 for the last time in this qualifying session. And let's see where the clock hits for Stephen Beardsley, if he's going to improve upon his previous time. No, he does not. He turns in a 133.20. That does not improve upon his 133.01. So last drivers now, when we're following Cam Eben. It looks like Eben had already put in his last flying lap. Cam Eben, coming off of his win in the Mazda MX-5s, is going to qualify 9th here in the Spec Racer Fords, and we should have our drivers starting to grid up here in just a moment. But before they do, real quick, I'll just give you a quick rundown of the season championship from season 4. As I mentioned, Caleb Patry took the championship with 125 points. Morgan Burkhardt finished 2nd in the championship. John Vogel finished 3rd in the championship, and then Mark Santana and Wanshi Lin. And from what I heard, Wanshi Lin, who is really focuses solely on the Spec Racer Ford platform, he is out of town this week, but he will be joining us hopefully next week at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah, he's always quick.
He's always very quick. So let's take a look at our starting order tonight, and for the second race in a row, populated with all sports racer drivers. Jamison Huffman, driver of the number 89 machine. He is your pole sitter tonight. Fast time of qualifying, 132.721. Only 72 thousandths of a second off of that time. His teammate, Morgan Burkhardt. He's going to start on the outside of row number 1. Caleb Patry, driver of the number 198 machine, our champion from season number 4. He's going to start 3rd on the inside of row number 2 with Grant Vogel right next to him in 4th. Stephen Beardsley in the Rainier Beer Racing Team entry. He's going to start 5th with Justin Huffman starting in 6th tonight. On the inside of row number 4, John Vogel with Murphy Nichols starting next to him. In 8th, Cam Eben, again, our winner from race number 1 tonight. He's going to start on the inside of row number 5 with Bruce Lukens starting in 10th. Stevie Ray, the Ray Esports Racing, he is going to start 11th in the number 11 machine. It's almost like he planned it that way. And then in the Far From NASCAR number 71 machine, hopefully without my face on his car, Andrew Benna is going to start in 12th. Starting lucky 13 tonight, John Wilson in the number 82 machine. And remember, John was our Excellent Driver Award winner, not in the Spec Racer Fords last season, but in RE2. Josh Justice is going to start right next to him in the number 399 machine. He's going to start 14th. Jordy Fike and Brian Schmaltz, they'll make up row number 8 with row number 9, Greg Mack and Charles Vaccaro. We've then got Peter Rolfe and Russ Lundberg starting 19th and 20th. And, if you got Charles Vaccaro somewhere, Russ Lundberg has got to be close by. John Casey, he is going to start 21st with Giancarlo Schooler, who finished 2nd tonight in the Mazda MX-5s. Maybe I goaded him into running this race this evening.
Yeah.
Either that or I held him in the interview so long he didn't do well in qualifying. He's going to start 22nd. Charles Bailey, who I've raced with a ton, racing Volkswagen Jettas in the SCCA Foundations League. He's going to start 23rd. Clark Stevens is going to start 24th. And then as we drop down towards the tail end of the order here, JG Pasterjack from Grassroots Motorsports Magazine. He's driving the number 2 Spec Racer Ford tonight. He's going to start 25th with Wayne Buttermore 26th. Mark Sherman will start 27th with Andrew Wozencroft right next to him in 28th. And then we've got Joaquin Effinger And this is a story here. I don't think he's taken to the track. Brennan Horan in the Slicks Racing number 30 machine. I believe Charles Vaccaro, Brennan Horan, as well as Joe Camilleri have not taken their pace lap. So we'll see if they are starting from the pit lane. As best I can tell, Dennis, it doesn't look like
Yeah,
any of the three
I'm
of
not
those
sure they're
drivers
going to
are in the
start this
session.
one. Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, so the pace car leading the field down into turn number 10A, and we're going to talk about our sponsor. Maybe when we find a little break in the action, we'll talk about our sponsor for tonight's second race of the evening, Spec Racer Sports, but want to thank and welcome them back for their second season with the Ray Esports Racing League. As we've got our front row, Jamison Huffman and Morgan Burkhardt coming down the hill through turn 12. And as they round turn 12, there it is. Green flag is in the air, and they make their way down the front straight. And yes, it is 3 cars with identical livery as they come down, all stacked up. Not moving to the inside to make it 3 wide is Caleb Patry. I think talk about discretion being the better part of valor there as they come up the hill and into turn 3. Oh, and going off early, Brian Schmaltz runs wide at turn number 1, and we have another driver off, a number of drivers off. Looks like John Casey went off. I think Charles Vaccaro went off. Looks like the 129 machine
Russ
of Russ
Lundberg,
Lundberg and Peter Rolfe in the 033 machine as well. Don't know what happened there coming through turn 1, but it looked like we had a number of drivers that went off. But now coming into turn number 6, heavily banked here, it is Burkhardt, our leader. Caleb Patry running second. Big surprise, though, is Jamison Huffman, our pole sitter. He has fallen back to 4th now as Grant Vogel works his way up into 3rd. So Huffman sitting in 4th, right behind Huffman, John Vogel, who gets around Cam Eben. Murphy Nichols gets around Cam Eben. Looks like Eben does not get a good run out of turn number 7. And as they now make their way down that quick drop into 10A, it is 2 by 2. It's Patry on the outside. It's Burkhardt to the inside. Right back behind them, it's Vogel and Huffman, and that's how they're going to play as they make their way now up the hill and head up underneath the Fox Factory Bridge, and then start making their roll down the hill as well and out onto the front straight. Oh, dropping a wheel there was Grant Vogel. Oh, and getting very loose coming out of the final corner, coming out of turn number 12. It's the number 4 machine of John Vogel. John Vogel, does he impact the wall? Looks like he might have tagged the wall there on the front straight. John Vogel, who finished 3rd in the championship. As we take a look at that replay here, lots of problems for John. Just starts doing tank slapper.
Yeah, you're not coming back on that.
No, and so Vogel now down into 20th position, having started all the way up in 7th position. And yeah, that's going to be a tough recovery drive for him as we take a look now at JG Pasterjack in the red number 2 Grassroots Motorsports machine with John Vogel. And then right behind them, we've got Clark Stevens in the number 62 machine, the yellow number 62. And I believe he's new to the series as well. So lots of new drivers here this season, Dennis, in Spec Racer Fords.
Yeah, really cool to see. Big field. It's awesome.
All right, running wide, coming out of turn number 7. I think that was Andrew Wozencroft in the number 80 machine. So I think drivers here on lap 2 still dealing with cold tires. As we look at Stevie Ray now, who's made up 3 positions since the start. And I think if there's one platform that Stevie Ray really focuses on, it is the Spec Racer Fords. He was actually a real-life Spec Racer Ford, many years removed, but he has had quite a bit of time in that chassis, and he also is responsible for what's known as the Weekend Warriors Spec Racer Ford League as well. About 60 drivers every single week from all
we've
around
got
the
Jameson
world.
Huffman off into turn 1.
Yeah, and he's having trouble getting that car back out on track as he had to kind of navigate over the curbing. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of damage, actually a lot of damage to him right there. We have another driver that just went off as he was recovering, and I think that was possibly Charles Bailey that went off ahead of him. So we'll see how that plays out. But now up at the front of the field, let's take a look at the replay. Dennis, thank you very much. and we'll see exactly what happened to the 89 machine. He was the third car in line there, sitting at the front, and then we had, looks like Grant Vogel coming over, and did Vogel get into the side of the 89 machine?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. And so that sends the 89 machine off, and yeah, a lot of damage there on the wall as Grant Vogel, now our third place runner, and he's going to try and follow Morgan Burkhardt all the way down the inside, driver's left, coming down in the 10A as Burkhardt drafts past Caleb Patry to take the lead, move Patry back to second. Again, Grant Vogel sitting in third in the number 47 machine. And as we jump back here and take a look at that severely damaged number 89 machine, as Jameson Huffman gets around Jordy Fike. So move Huffman now up into 12th, move Fike down to 13th, and they have just ahead of them Bruce Luckins in the that green, yellow, and orange number 26.
Andrew Bennett. That's
Andrew
down,
Bennett
what is that,
off.
10A?
That was over at 10A, got into the gravel trap there, and the fact that he took the toe to the pit lane might have had some contact. Might add that it appears that he has replaced my face on the front of the car with the New England region of the SCCA's logo. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened to Andrew here as he's coming down into 10A. And you know, if he came into contact with another car, it was invisible. Yeah, he just lost it under braking.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just my eyes, but the car looked a little bit squirrely anyway.
Yeah.
It might have had some contact somewhere.
Yeah, I was
And,
going to say maybe he had some contact, or maybe had an equipment issue.
Could be, yeah.
Possibly, as we track Murphy Nichols, who is now up in 6th, ran a little wide coming through turn 7. It looks like a lot of drivers having issues at turn 7 right now. Bruce Luckins having trouble there, and we have another driver who just spun, and I think that was that the 80 car
That's
of
Andrew Wozencroft.
Yeah, in a new livery this season, and he had some issues coming out of turn 7 as well, and looks like somewhat slow there to get back up to pace as John Casey gets by him. But a lot of drivers having some issues there on that corner. I mean, it's so difficult in a Spec Racer Ford to get that weight transfer correct as you're transitioning from brake to gas, and you know, just with the engine right over the rear of the car, you can have that lift off oversteer and send the car around.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've personally never driven the Spec Racer Ford, but I've heard exactly that from lots of different people. Liftoff oversteer can be a killer.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so when iRacing updated the Spec Racer Fords to what is considered the Gen 3 platform last summer, a lot of that was reduced because with the way the car is modeled now, it's modeled on with an aluminum 1.6 liter Ford motor. The previous iteration, what was known as the Gen 2, had a much heavier 1.9 liter iron block Ford motor from an old Ford Escort in the back. And so you can imagine, you know, more weight to go around and turn your car into an even bigger pendulum. But there you go. All right, as another driver with issues over at turn 7, and who's that? That's Giancarlo Schooler, driver of the 111 machine. He finished second in the Mazda MX-5 race, and he had made up a lot of ground. Schooler had worked his way all the way up in the 10th position, having started, I think, 23rd. So not it looks like a feast or famine for those all-sports racer drivers, as we could see there is Jameson Huffman. Now he gets around Greg Mack, works his way back up into 9th position.
Trying to make up some of those spots, but he's just way too far back, and these races are too short.
Yeah, and
It's
so
a shame.
Yeah, it's so tough as we're now just about a little bit over 8 minutes into this 20-minute race here, and we're tracking right now with Jameson's father, Justin, in that black, orange, and yellow number 223 machine. Looks like he had just given up a spot to Stephen Beardsley, as Beardsley in the yellow number 9 machine had moved up into 4th. And, you know, if these two can work together, and they've got Murphy Nichols sitting right behind them, they could conceivably draft back up to our top 3 drivers, to Patry, Burkhardt, and Vogel. They're not that far away, and I would suspect, and yeah, here they go, they might prove me wrong. Let's take a look here. A little bump. Look at that bump draft on the back straight there, And Morgan hitting the back of his college fund apparently on the rear of that 198 machine as they come down into turn 10. And I think, Dennis, and you tell me, I would suspect that we're going to see some strategy very similar to what we saw in the Spec Miatas. That and Grant Vogel might he might put a little damper in this, but it looks to me like Burkhardt and Patry are pretty content to wait until maybe the last couple laps to start fighting things out.
Yeah, it's strange. These two, the two cars, the MX-5s that we had before, and these very different cars, but around here they race very similarly.
All right, so as our leaders now making their way now over the top of the S's over at turn 3 and start to make their way down the hill, let's talk quickly about, and JG Pasterjack. Well, since this race isn't sponsored by Grassroots Motorsports, I think we can talk now about our sponsor for this race, Spec Racer Sports, who are with us for their second season, and we want to thank them for re-upping this season. And Spec Racer Sports, their mission is to help fuel and support your addiction to road racing. They feel that the way to accomplish this is by providing exceptional customer support, the parts, the services you need when you need them at a fair and competitive price. Spec Racer Sports currently stables Spec Racer Fords and offers rental cars that are exceptionally prepared, and they are trackside at Motorsports Ranch Houston, MSR Houston, with access to the track for a rental or test drive that can easily be arranged. In addition to new car sales, storage, and support, they provide a complete complement of technical services such as chassis dyno work, driver coaching, as well as fabrication, and they offer them all at very competitive rates. To find out more about Spec Racer Sports and their services, visit specracersports.com. All right, here we go down into 10A. It's Huffman on Huffman. Look at this as Jamison works his way back through the field, and both he and Cam Eben get around Huffman the Elder, around Justin Huffman. So that's going to drop the 223 car now down into 9th position, move Jamison up to 7th, move Cam up to 8th. Here, Cam is made up. Cam started 9th tonight, and of course Huffman was our pole sitter, so he's trying to work his way back up to the lead pack. But looks like in the time it takes for me to read a spot for our sponsor, Dennis, looks like Patry and Burkhardt can actually open up. Yeah, they can open up a pretty good gap there on Grant Vogel.
Yeah, they're running low 33s, and Grant was a 33.7 last time by, so. Yeah, they're just, and I think it's ever so slightly pulling away.
Yeah, and so Grant is about a little over a second back as Stevie Ray runs off, not at 7, but coming out of that heavily banked turn 6. But Vogel might be slipping out of that draft range now. He's about 1.2 seconds back.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what where the draft starts to pick up in this car. I've never driven it personally.
Yeah,
1.2 seconds is got to be getting out of the right at the edge of that, whatever that draft range is.
Yeah, and as they went down into turn 12, he actually lost maybe another 2 seconds, or not 2 seconds, but 0.2 of a second just in the braking zone for turn 10A. So, perhaps realizing his spot in the world, maybe he was being a little more cautious rather than trying to push the car down and pick up ground there. We'll see what he can do. I think as soon as Patry and Burkhardt do start to fight for positions here, and with 7 minutes remaining in this 20-minute race, probably won't be all that long, Dennis, before they do that. Might bring Vogel back into the battle.
Anything can happen. That's why we run the race.
That's absolutely right. That's why we do it, and that's that's why we're watching with all that damage that Jamison Huffman has made, and we've seen we saw in season 4. Look at this,
Caleb Pipsy. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, so something happened with Caleb Patry there. He now falls back. Looks like he just didn't have any pace going through turn 6. So I'm wondering if perhaps he got loose coming out of 5 as Grant Vogel now takes 2nd place. Let's take a look as they come up the hill. And we might be following for a while here as they come up and through turn 3, start to head down the hill. Look at that. Yeah, Patry just got it wrong coming out of turn 3, and he was your lead car.
That's a slowdown. Once you get past those cones, that's an iRacing slowdown. So he had to give up that time.
That's right. So he had to come out of the throttle, and that was going to allow Grant Vogel to just drive on by. Very fortunate for our Season 4 champion in Spec Racer Ford. He's now running third, and that really opens things up for Morgan Burkhardt, who now has a 1.4 second advantage still over Grant Vogel. As we just saw another driver run off, and I think that was Wayne Buttermore, who went off. Actually, it was Wayne Buttermore at one point, and I think we saw Joaquin Effinger as well. Again, I think those two, they do synchronized swimming together or something. That
yeah, those guys are joined at
follows.
the hip. Absolutely, it's
exactly.
It's really neat to see it though, because that's what's cool about this league is that you're always got somebody to race with, whatever your level is.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us now, we kind of joke about it, but with this being season number 5, we've seen these two drivers together for 4 seasons.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's in the Mazda MX-5s or if it's in the Spec Racer Fords. They just seem to, they have very similar capabilities. They have similar pace across different chassis, and again, like you said, it's great that you always have somebody to race with. As we watch here now with just under 5 minutes remaining, Caleb Patry trying to make ground back up on Grant Vogel. Now, both Burkhardt and Patry had a better pace than Vogel. Of course, Vogel having slipped out of the draft, and we saw Burkhardt and Patry essentially bump drafting the Spec Racer Fords down the back straight. We'll see now. This would be an interesting happening here. If Patry actually works with Vogel and tries to push Vogel back up into a 3-car battle with his teammate. Oh, and look at this.
2 guys coming in.
Yeah, and we've got once again Jamison Huffman making a run down the pit lane, Cam Eben as well. And this time around, though, again, we have where drivers are assigned a drive-through penalty if they hit 12 incident points. I'm showing 9 incident points for Jamison Huffman and 4 for Cam Eben. So I'm not sure.
Well, the problem is that it's impossible to get that accurately because our system may have thought that there was an off-track or not an off-track, but the iRacing servers may have applied one. The iRacing servers, they're the law. So what they say goes.
So quite possible that they both
yeah,
got
and
them.
that's kind of strange though. That
you see,
you get it has to be contact because you get a 4x for a contact, and both of those guys look like they've had some
still
contact.
in the pits. Eben is still in the pits.
Yep.
So so something perhaps a little bit more.
He's either decided, I don't feel like continuing, or maybe he's got some terminal damage.
Yeah, as I say, maybe grab the bag of chips or something, or decide to go watch Euphoria or something.
There you go.
Tonight, here we go, as we're watching this battle with Patry and Vogel, Grant Vogel for third. And look at this as Patry tries the over-under going through turn 1, up the hill into turn 3. As Patry had gotten around Vogel going into turn 10A, Vogel returned the favor coming down the hill through 12. And now Patry has to try and dispatch him again, returning to the scene of the crime, going through the S's. This time Patry gets it right down through the S's, and he now has second position, but that has allowed Morgan Burkhardt to open up over a 2.5 second advantage with just under 2 minutes. And when Burkhardt comes around, as he's coming onto the back straight now, we will probably be right at about 1.5 minutes remaining.
It's going to be close.
We may see the white flag out for the last lap this next time by. It's going to be very, very close. But look at this. Once again, battling it out for second. Patry, Vogel side by side. And Vogel, he's got a nose up, but Patry's got the inside line. I think Patry realizes he's not going to be able to get by. Look at this. Vogel comes all the way down to the inside. And Dennis, I'll tell you, if Vogel perhaps kept the car drivers right, he might not be in this position. He might have been able to lead Patry out of 10A and 10B.
Yeah, that chicane is one of the places where it actually is sometimes a little easier to go around the outside than to try to go up, Because you get the better run
Yeah.
going up the hill.
Yeah, and and I think Patry might have goaded Vogel into a move that he didn't need to make there. It looked like Patry was ready to just keep that car at driver's left. He didn't think he was quite up close enough to Vogel to outbreak him in the 10A, and then Vogel. He basically put the car down to the inside and severely compromised his entry into that complex.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if Vogel, he should be able to draft right back up to the 198 machine. That is now given Burkhardt another half second, and as I suspected, we are indeed on the last lap. But look at this on the very last lap, coming out of turn 7. Our leader Morgan Burkhardt drops a wheel, impacts the wall. Take a look at that quick replay there. And oh my gosh, Morgan Burkhardt leading this race with a 3-second advantage. That now moves Caleb Patry into the lead. Grant Vogel, he's going to have to try and get by. We are on the very last lap here at Michelin Raceway. Vogel, he's going to try to come down the outside. Patry protects. Vogel goes into the dirt. He's going to lose ground. And Caleb Patry, our Season 4 champion, not what he expected about 40 seconds ago. Caleb Patry rounds turn 12 and takes the win here in Spec Racer Ford. Grant Vogel, he's going to come in second. And now here is the battle for third. And actually, the battle for third's up ahead. Murphy Nichols, I think, is going to come home in third, take the last step on the podium. There he goes. There's the Smoketown Brewery machine. Morgan Burkhardt gets the wall again. Again, maybe just beating his head against the wall. He's going to come home in fourth. Stevie Ray works his way all the way up to fifth, having started 11th. Then it is Justin Huffman finishing sixth. Jordy Fikes seventh. Stephen Beardsley will finish in eighth. Greg Mack will finish ninth. Bruce Lukens finishes in 10th. And there you go, crossing the line. Jamison Huffman, it finishes 11th, just ahead of John Wilson. But that is not the finish that I expected to see
That
here.
is the worst feeling when you've got the race in hand and you throw it away. That's it's worse than if somebody else crashes you because you did it to yourself. That's the worst.
That's it. And with a 3-second advantage, and I'm sure. And hopefully we'll have him in here that we can talk to him. I'm sure with about 4 laps to go when Caleb Patry went off up at the top of the S's and took the little motorcycle chicane there and had the slowdown. Yeah. Probably not what he
probably
expected.
Thought that was it.
Yeah. Wow. All
That's
right.
why
So
you never say die. You keep going.
No, certainly not. All right. Well, we've got Caleb. He's out of the car. He's in the commentary booth. Let's bring him on in and talk to him. All right. There you go. Caleb Patry, our winner here tonight in the very first Spec Racer Ford race of Season 5 and our Season 4 champion. So, Caleb, I'll bet you with about 40 seconds before you got to the start-finish line, you didn't expect to be the first one across. Now, did you?
No, not really. That was kind of a shock there to see Morgan spin like that.
Yeah, it was for the majority of the race. It looked like you and Morgan were just working together, bump drafting down the back straight. Pretty amazing to see bump drafting in Spec Racer Fords. And you'd worked out to a little bit less than a 2-second advantage over Grant Vogel, and you had a bit of an issue coming through the downhill S's. With about 4 or 5 laps to go, and got that slowdown penalty. What was your strategy after that to work your way back up back towards the lead? Looks like you had a great battle with Grant after that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. That the whole second half of the race, I was really struggling to keep the car underneath me under braking. No matter what I did, brake hard, brake early, that thing just seemed to want to step out in every corner. So I kind of messed up a little bit there, but thankfully saved it. But with Morgan, kind of had a 2-second gap there, and Grant and I were close, so my plan was just to kind of race him, not really worry about Morgan, let him do his own thing, and thankfully it worked out there in the end. I was in second, but kind of feel bad for Morgan there that last lap. It was definitely his race to win. He drove a really good, consistent race, but still happy with the win, nonetheless.
Well, there you go. You wrapped up season 4 with the championship, and you start off season 5 with another win. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight, Caleb?
Well, certainly my teammates and everybody at All Sports Racing for their support. Spec Racer Sports for their sponsorship. You guys for the awesome broadcast. And then I'd love to give a special shout out to Premier Racing Setups. If you go there and shop for stuff and use discount code PATRY15 on checkout, you can get 15% off your order. So be sure to check them out.
Very cool. Got in the plug there. Caleb Patry, congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you next week at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
For sure.
All right, there you go. Caleb Patry, winner tonight in Spec Racer Fords, driver of the number 198 machine. And now, why don't we bring in, and we haven't talked to him for quite some time, and he had a great run, made up 5 positions in tonight's race. Let's bring in driver of the number 5 Smoketown Brewery, Spec Racer Ford, Murphy Nichols. Murphy, congratulations on your podium tonight.
Thank you.
So, looked like a very eventful race for you this evening. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was eventful is definitely a word for it. I felt like I had pace for the most part. I knew I wasn't the quickest driver, but I knew I could at least keep the car on the track, except for the one moment going into turn 7 when the blip at the downshift got me a little bit. But outside of that, it was just kind of smooth sailing, kind of let the chaos happen around me and pick up the scrapings from there. Like sometimes that's how races go. Like, you may not be the fastest car, but I mean,
if you're consistent,
yeah,
you can find your way to the front. Yeah, exactly. And interesting that you should mention your little excursion over by turn 7, because a lot of drivers, obviously, Morgan Burkhardt with his issue there on the very last lap, but a lot of drivers were having issues with turn 7 tonight, and I'm wondering if it was something along the lines of, we know that obviously the balance on the Gen 3 versions of the Spec Racer Fords has changed a little bit from what it used to be for years on the iRacing platform, but I know a lot of drivers still have issues with liftoff oversteer. But you're saying basically it was a rev matching issue going into that corner?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the balance definitely got better from the Gen 2 to the Gen 3. But as far as like my turn 7 incident went, and granted, I'm not the biggest SRF expert by any means, but with me, what I noticed was if I kept it in third, the car really just wanted to oversteer, and like it wanted to pull through that corner. But if I would blip it to second, it would be faster, but the car would want to spin. Because, like you said, the rev match, it was hard to do that. So, at least for me, like that's where I was having troubles. I found a little pattern later where I would pull out a bit, go second, and then go back to third, which kind of helped a little bit as far as the stability went. And I felt like it was kind of a good balance of where it wasn't the fastest, but it wasn't the slowest, and it was stable enough to where I could do that consistently after my incident and keep the car on track, and I didn't have any incidents after that.
Yeah, again, very with a lot of drivers definitely had continuing issues tonight in the Spec Racer Ford. I don't know if it was just a question of getting the setup wrong or not maybe putting a little more trust in the tires than perhaps they should. But you ran a very clean race tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Definitely all the all sport guys, the guys over at Team Watson and Premier Racing Setups. Definitely my family, Smoketown Brewing Station, obviously, and you guys as always for putting on a great show.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you and congratulations on your podium finish tonight. Murphy Nichols, driver of the number 5 Smoketown Brewing Station, Spec Racer Ford. Thanks so much, and hopefully we'll see you next week at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Oh yeah, I'll be here for it.
There you go. He's a confident man. There you go. That was Murphy Nichols. Let's bring in, if Dennis, hopefully this is okay. I've got 2 people queued up. We've got Grant Vogel who finished second, and then we've got Stevie Ray. And I really don't want to upset the guy who runs the whole show. So let's bring in Grant Vogel, finishing second tonight in Spec Racer Fords. Grant, congratulations on your podium, and it turned out to be a very exciting last, I'd say, 3-4 laps for you as you started to mix it up with Caleb Patry.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Thanks, guys. Really, more than anything, I was curious what happened at the end of the race. I mean, I don't know if you've spoken to anybody about it or not, but I'd be curious to hear how he ended up in the wall at the end.
Well, he dropped the wheel coming out of 7.
Oh no.
He ran wide. I think he had at that point maybe 3 seconds on the two of you, and
Sure.
just ran wide coming out of 7, dropped the wheel, and hooked right across the track into the wall.
Yeah, that happens. Well, congratulations to Caleb, and then I also want to say I'm sorry I had a little tap with Steven early on in the race, so I was happy when I saw that he wasn't too far behind because I actually thought he was out. That was,
I was going to say Jameson made up a ton of ground last couple of laps. I think finished in Jameson actually ended up I think having to pit in with a couple of laps remaining. His father I think finished up just not all that far behind you back in 5th.
Nice. Yeah.
Excellent. So anybody you'd like to thank tonight, Grant?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So Carrier Heating and Cooling, or air conditioning for sure, and then my dad, absolutely, because we do the Super Tour stuff together, and
Yes, you do.
it wouldn't be possible without his support. So definitely appreciate it.
Well, there you go. Grant Vogel and Dad John Vogel, real life Spec Racer Ford racers. So great to see them here with us here to this evening, and once again on the Ray Esports Racing League. Congratulations, and Grant, hopefully we'll see you next week at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks, Steve, and thanks you guys. Appreciate you guys putting it on. It's fun.
Thank you so much. All right, there you go. Grant Vogel finishing 3rd tonight in the number 47 Spec Racer Ford. And so before we wrap things up here, why don't we bring in Stevie Ray? Stevie, we knew it was a big night here to kick off season number 5 because you took a night off from work and and raced with us here both in the MX-5s and also in the Spec Racer Fords.
Yeah, I had to be here. This is a great way to start the season. We had a great turnout. I think from what I saw, I had some great racing. So
yeah, great racing in both races, and a lot of dramas throughout both fields tonight. It was great racing. So Steve, a couple things. We mentioned it when we came back from the break here. Of course, we've been focused on sprint racing for the past 4 seasons, and we're rolling into season 5 now. But we're going to be kicking off a new endurance series. Come March 12th is going to be the first of many that we have scheduled over the course of the season. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
yeah, we decided to kind of parallel the SCCA Endurance Series. So we're going to kick it off on the 12th at Sebring. We got 3 classes going, the TCRs, the Mustang, and the MX-5, of course. And teams are welcome. Again, same membership requirement as this. And there'll be 4-hour races, at least this first one. We'll see how it goes. And we're going to spread them out throughout the whole year, kind of like the regular SCCA Endurance does. So at the end of the year, we'll have a championship, and it'll cover more than one iRacing series, obviously. But looking forward to it. It's something new, something exciting. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it should make for, obviously the strategy involved in a 20-minute sprint race very different than a 4-hour race, whether you're racing alone or as a team. And as Stevie mentioned, if you head over to rayesportsracing.com, you can find out more about the Endurance Series. You can find out about how to sign up for the series, and you can find out how to sign up for our Ray Esports Racing League Sprint Series as well. As he mentioned, there are a couple small requirements. You must be either a Sports Car Club of America member, or you must have made a donation to the SCCA Foundation. Pretty simple stuff there. But if you're a motorsports guy or gal, it's pretty much par for the course. And we would definitely like to have you. Again, if you head over to rayesportsracing.com. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. And Dennis, why don't we throw up the schedule and what we have coming up here for the following? I guess we've got 9 more weeks, if you actually 10 more weeks if you count the fun race, which we'll tell you a little bit about as we get closer to it. That's scheduled for April 5th, and of course our runoffs at the end of the season. But as I've said many times, next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where we're going to have the return of the Spec Racer Fords, and then the first outing this season of the RE2 Formula Cars. We're going to give the Mazdas a week off, but some great tracks across the United States that we're going to be visiting, and a great schedule as well, Steve. And as we saw here, we had 30 or so drivers in Spec Racer Ford. We had about the same in the Mazda MX-5s. Great turnout for a first week.
Yeah, it was, and I just wanted to thank everybody that showed up. I can set it up and do all the stuff, but it's nothing without the guys on the track. They're the ones that make it so fun and make the good racing, and really appreciate those guys coming out week after week and supporting the league. And our sponsors as well. Of course, we couldn't be doing this without them. We've carried on with Spec Racer Sports for the SRF and Alliance Auto Sports with the RE2. And this season, we're really proud to bring on Grassroots Motorsports for the MX-5. So huge shout out to our sponsors for making this possible. Thanks to you guys for doing the great broadcast. Appreciate that as well. So looking forward to a great season.
It certainly should be a wonderful season, and as you mentioned, we can't do it without our sponsors. So great to have Spec Racer Sports and Alliance back with us again this season, and as you mentioned, wonderful to have Grassroots Motorsports on board. And we had both Scott Lear and JG Pasterjack in our two different fields tonight. So again, our sponsors getting involved with the racing themselves. We've said they're car guys. They know racing. They know writing. So for Stevie Ray, for Dennis Branch, and of course for the guy in the dark right now, Brian Donati. Hopefully he'll have the light. Hopefully he'll have the lights on.
Poor Brian.
Next week, and he'll be able to join us. I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. from Lexington, Ohio's Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Everybody have a wonderful week.